Hello, I'm Dr. Pamela Ruig, and I hold the David J. Ellis Chair in Large Animal Clinical Sciences at Michigan State University. Today, in our ongoing series about key performance indicators, I'm going to talk about key performance indicators for udder hygiene. Why udder hygiene? Well, environmental bacteria are a very important cause of mastitis on dairy farms. When we talk about environmental bacteria, we're talking about those bacteria that the teats become exposed to when they come in contact with moisture, mud, and manure in the environment of the cow. Those bacteria are a very common cause, especially of clinical mastitis on many dairy farms. They're bacteria like the streptococci, the E. coli's, the Klebsiellas, the Enterobacters, and the lactococci. They cause a lot of problems on many farms. And we can assess the risk of exposure by observing the hygiene of the udder. Now, there's a lot of udder hygiene scoring systems around, and there's other leg and body scoring systems, but udder hygiene scoring that focuses on assessing the cleanliness of the rear udder has been shown to be strongly associated with the risk of developing mastitis. And that's been shown in a number of studies. So we're going to talk about udder hygiene scoring using a very simple chart that assesses just the rear udders. This is a great thing to do because we can often do this in milking parlors when we can observe the rear udders. So the udder hygiene scoring system that we recommend using is a simple system that has 4 scores. Udder hygiene score 1, the udders are sparkling clean. We don't see really any soiling on those udders. Udder hygiene score 2, that's still clean enough, but that means less than about 10% of the visible surface of the rear udder is soiled. Then we get to udder hygiene score 3 and 4. Udder hygiene score 3 means that about 10 to 30% of the rear udder has visible soiling up on it. That means visible mud or manure, something you can see that doesn't belong there. And then udder hygiene score 4, anything more than 30% of the rear udder is soiled. Now, you'd wonder, is there really a strong association between those udder hygiene scores and actually the risk of mastitis? We asked that question ourselves and did a study in 2017 where we did udder hygiene scoring on a number of farms and also took swabs of the teat end, which we measured the amount of bacteria on the teat end. And our results were pretty amazing. As the udder hygiene scores progress, the number of bacteria double on the teat ends for every score. So for example, at udder hygiene score 1, there's still bacteria on the teat end. We found about 80,000 colony-forming units of bacteria for udder hygiene score 1. When we went to udder hygiene score 2, that doubled. It was about 180,000 colony-forming units per teat swab. And again, when we went to udder hygiene score 3, 340,000 colony-forming units of bacteria on a teat swab. And then udder hygiene score 4, we had over 600,000 colony-forming units of bacteria on the teat swabs. That massively increases the risk for development of mastitis. So what do we recommend? We recommend that udder hygiene scoring is done routinely in each group on the farm, and you can rotate it among groups. We'd recommend you score at least 30 animals per group, and our key performance indicator is less than 20% of the cows should have an udder hygiene score of 3 or above. What's the solution to dirty udders? If you have a problem, you need to reduce the moisture and manure in the beds, the alleys, the walkways, and any area pastures that animals congregate.